You
You're a
know,
selfish Uso.
Manny, it's kind of funny because when people see the thumbnail go down, they don't understand that they weren't the only family that had a rupture. Because I had to get rid of Marcus' ass for this episode because I couldn't take it no more. He was just like a damn fool. He didn't want to fall in line. Got to acknowledge the tribal chief. So that's why he got sit down. He's in timeout right now. So yeah,
Time out.
You can join Levi. He can join everybody else, Manny, because we don't put Marcus the grand finale in timeout. What he gonna do about that? Shit.
I mean, he still has access to getting in the studio, Eric.
I know he does, but he's on his deathbed. But knowing how petty he is, he'll show up for that. Well, this was a turn of event. I mean, Jey Uso got an impromptu U.S. title shot. And then Jimmy, who I didn't think was at work, did this.
Yeah. And then we led into
Twin Magic right there. Man, let me tell you, that looks like some great lighting right there. You really did look at Jey Uso looking like a true tribal chief in training. A TCT, tribal chief in training. No, that'd be T-sit. T-sit, never mind. My bad.
Yeah. So I like the dissension that was caused it.
Yeah. I mean, because it was clear. We probably could. You want to show your other thumbnails before we start discussing the main topic of what happened?
It's just Charlotte, but let's just.
We'll talk about Charlotte.
Just move into the show.
Everybody, welcome to the Sharpshooters, aka the Untitled Manny and Eric Show. I'm Eric.
I'm Lord Manny Hayes.
And Marcus, like I said, has been put on timeout. He may pop up in the chat room, but whatever. We're here. I'm on location, as everyone can see. We're here to talk about the rest of the week of professional wrestling. We're here to talk about the follow to Friday Night SmackDown. I mean, Manny, we were going in to find out if Jey was truly going to fall in line. And the Tribal Chief and Paul Heyman have some tricks up their sleeve to sweeten the pot a little bit. What do you think about the offer that was made to Jey Uso to
it was a sweet offer.
His own twin? It was
a sweet offer. It's like we have to go back to biblical times when Judas was given them 30 pieces of silver to betray Jesus.
I mean, he gave him a title shot, and then he also said that once he defeated Austin Theory for the U.S. title, then he will become the tribal chief in training because Jey has always been the one. I mean, it was pretty sweet. The first thing that I found out I thought was hilarious is when we had the backstage segment where Jey said the first thing I would do is get rid of you. When did Jey and Paul Heyman start having beef, Manny? Do you recall this?
I don't actually know. There's never been any seeds planted except for maybe after WrestleMania when it was Paul Heyman kind of highlighting that the Tribal Chief was not happy with the Usos for losing their tag belts to Kevin Owens and Sammy.
Yeah. I also enjoyed Sammy trying to talk to Jey like, hey, Jey, don't fall in line. I was like, wow, what is this pep talk? Everybody really was invested in what was going to happen to Jey Uso in this situation. And I think that was a very good tone going out throughout the entire show. And then I do like when we finally heard from Austin Theory. Austin Theory was extremely frustrated that somehow, some way, he was forced to defend his title without any proper notice or anything. If you're a champion, how do you feel about this? Pierce is messing up, right?
Well, Pierce is messing up all over the place, but we'll get onto Pierce a little bit later. But I feel like he should have been this can't have just been worked up on Friday. Like surely they knew in the lead up to this. But like it's the same thing for almost Jey in a sense because he just found out at the top of the show the same time as Austin Theory that he's got a title match.
Yeah, and I think the opening segment did so much for selling this U.S. title match because now you felt like that Austin Theory was in jeopardy of losing his title, and he's been a fairly undefeated champion. He hasn't really had anybody challenge for his title since he got past Bobby Lashley. So going into this main event, thinking that Roman has made this and then Solo's involvement, I was like, are we going to get a new U.S. champion? It really built a lot of suspense going into the show, and I appreciated that for SmackDown because I think that you really needed it to have you wait to get to the end of the show because there was some things that took place on SmackDown that I don't know if many people cared about too much.
Yeah, and I think like what you just said, sometimes they let you wait the entire show to get to the main event of the Bloodline, whatever their story is. It's good that they threw in some bits at the beginning, so you're not like, I don't care about all this stuff. I just want to get to the Bloodline. So at least you get a little bit, you get a little trickle at the beginning, and then you're fed a little bit little bits and pieces here and there till you get to the main event, whilst everything else is happening on the show. So you care a little bit about what's
Yeah.
going on.
It's like, when you're in a restaurant and you order your appetizers and you're sitting there and you see somebody else order the fajitas at the other table. You see that sizzle and you're like, man, I can't wait for my entree to come. And then you see the other person at the table, they get their dessert. It's like, oh my God, that dessert is on the menu. I can't wait to get that dessert. It's just one of those things where it just gave a lot of seasoning to the show, because like the very first match of the show, like in wrestling sense, it was a good pairing, but in the storyline sense of WWE, I don't understand how Ali, with his immaculate hair, I think he might have the best hair in the game. I think he surpassed AJ, was going against Santos Escobar. We all know that I was going for Escobar in this situation, and Escobar did not disappoint. He did qualify for Money in the Bank. But when you think about Ali has so much on his plate, he's trying to qualify for Money in the Bank, and then he also is trying to feud with Wesley on NXT. The man needs to focus on one thing. I know he's a free agent, but it's getting the best of him. What did you think of this match to start off SmackDown?
I think it was a really good match to start off SmackDown. It is a qualifier. Ali did say on NXT that he's going to SmackDown and then he's going to sort out this other stuff. But like, obviously on NXT, he doesn't necessarily want to fight Wesley straight away. He wants to see Tyler Bate and Wesley go at it first for some reason, which by all means I say. But this is a really good match. It was a good win for Escobar. It's a good showing for them because the LWO do not get wins that often.
They don't. So
yeah.
And I thought in the Money in the Bank qualifying matches that took place on SmackDown, they had winners that were kind of predictable, but I felt kind of shocked. Let's fast forward a little bit to where you had Pete Dunne. I'm gonna call him Pete Dunne. That's what his daddy named him at first. That what's his name? Brutus? I can't remember his name. Butch. Going against Baron Corbin. This is the same situation where Baron Corbin is a free agent. He's going for the Money in the Bank qualifying match, but he has Trick and Mello, who technically they had beef that took place on NXT. I do like the sprinkling of NXT and SmackDown a little bit because I think it's giving people a little bit of energy to watch NXT. Manny, this match didn't have the same energy as Escobar and Ali, but I thought it served its purpose because I'm glad Butch won. What did you think of that qualifying match?
Well, they're different. They're different types of wrestlers, aren't they?
Yeah.
So in the first one, you had more of your high flyers, which are going to probably one of them would be your spot monkey alongside Ricochet, whereas this one is more your technical and power man. But so it's supposed to be a little bit slower. Pete Dunne doesn't really do anything, or Butch doesn't do anything that spectacular in the ring unless it's on pay-per-view recently. But you get your finger snapping spot that you guarantee in this match. But it was a good win for Peter Dunne, or Pete Dunne, as you used to call him.
I know a lot of people don't like Corbin, but I think Corbin does very well in the role that he's put in. I mean, he's like one of those guys who can lose and it's like, all right, whatever, he lost. But then we transition straight into that whole Mello and Trick feud. My issue with Mello and Trick is how y'all gonna let those referees stop you from getting him? I mean, Baron cold clock Trick.
It was the Jessica Carr was able to stop both of them.
Yeah. But I was like, come on, man, you got to move her out the way. I mean, he just snapped your boy, But at the same time, I was like, you know what? More reason for me to go back to NXT. Now, going back, we have more NXT involvement because we had the call-ups from SmackDown. We had Abba Fire and why can I never think? Isla Dawn. And, they're out there and they're talking about their tag team champions being NXT champions. And then they're interrupted by Shayna and Ronda. And pretty much they talk about making that title. I thought this was a good segment for the purpose of trying to figure out what we're doing with the tag team titles. I thought that the debut on Raw of Kayla Braxton and KC Katana was like more better because they actually looked like a really good team despite losing. But Mehdi, do you feel like they're taking the women's tag team championship a little bit more serious now than they did before?
I think they are, because obviously, if they're talking about unification, that means that team will have to go to NXT. And what Ronda's said in public, which made the dirt sheets of the women's tag division and possibly the women's division, isn't that deep in terms of depth. She's 100% right. It's just the way it's obviously come out that it may have rubbed people the wrong way, but it is lacking depth. It needs tag teams, really, because all there is makeshift outside of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, and I call them the witches, but there's no really other women's tag team out there at the moment.
But
So they
oh,
need to
go
start
ahead.
making them and expanding the division, because there's nothing on NXT at the moment either.
But I think the concern that I have with this one, because all the dirt sheets, and we know the dirt sheets are not the most accurate things, but they are in discussion that there may be a mid-level women's title. And so I don't know if there's a way that you can make the women's tag division stronger and also make this mid-level women's title at the same time. It seems like they might be stretching themselves too thin, but you know what? They might can figure it out. Who knows? I mean, I just don't want to have titles for no purpose, because then it really lessens what a title is, if that makes sense, what I just said.
Yeah.
So then we
Let me just. Marcus said Corbin looks like a guy in a pickup basketball game that yells foul all the time, except for when he fouls. Sounds like Marcus.
that sounds like Marcus. Marcus is a modern day Baron Corbin. So we go into Michin, Super Crip, going against Bailey. There was no doubt in my mind that Bailey was winning this match. I think the thing was that AJ was doing commentary, and the only reason why he was doing commentary was so that Scarlett could blow blood dust into her eyes, and then Carrie can choke him out.
I found this funny because in the UK, I don't know if you got it in America, but there's this group, they're called Stop Oil, and they go to various sporting events and they blow and they release orange like powder or dust in the air. And her blowing that in his face made me laugh even more.
Because only thing I know about like the dust is like at the Holi celebration that they do in India. That's the only time when they do dust. But I was like, it was funny, and for whatever reason, Karrion Kross versus AJ Styles actually excites me for some reason. This tag match that they're having next SmackDown with Michin and with AJ, I don't know how I feel about that. But I mean, Scarlett is going to wrestle. She hardly wrestles, so let's see what she can do.
Anytime she wrestles, her titty come
out. Well, I mean, that's a benefit.
This is the one time that I think you could actually turn things around for Karrion Kross, because he's nearly been back an entire year now, and nothing has happened.
Now, this segment that took place between Pierce and Bianca Belair was one of these segments that really bothered me, when he went and pleaded with Bianca not to interfere with the celebration of the title being presented to Asuka. And Bianca, after what that bitch did to me, you want me to leave her alone? And then next thing you know, Pierce was like, well, you are entitled to your rematch. And, that calmed her down a little bit. But he had no idea what was going to happen at the presentation, because he told Bianca not to interfere. But the queen herself showed up. Charlotte made a return. And Manny, did you pop when Charlotte returned? Because I didn't hear anything about her coming back.
I didn't hear anything when she was coming back, but I wouldn't say I popped. Like, I do like Charlotte, but like, I feel like she doesn't need to be in the championship picture at the moment. I really think they really need to establish this Asuka title run. I don't really want her to be a transitional champion, but if there's a way that what you mentioned before, in the pre-show, if there was a way that you could find another challenger for Asuka and get her out of this kind of picture, and then you lead all the way to Bianca versus Charlotte Flair to SummerSlam, because Charlotte is the last of the 4 horsewomen that she hasn't beat. So if you could somehow get her out of that kind of title picture, I think we could have a really good match on our hands.
I think the issue that I have is that, you have someone saying, oh, hey, I need you to wait in the back. We're not going to have it. And then Charlotte can come and interrupt, and not only interrupt, but then get a title match. Like, it shouldn't be that easy. Like, if anything, Charlotte should have been in the Money in the Bank qualifying match for me personally.
But do you think this could be the potential change to Bianca Belair? Maybe Bianca Belair turns heel because of this frustration, and and then she turns heel. Maybe the Profits turn heel, and then we've got this heelish side, and then Asuka maybe turns face again, or Charlotte runs face. I don't know, but
I mean, I think that's all possible.
She definitely needs a character change at the moment, because that title run was good that it went the length that it did, but like there was no kind of growth of her character.
I would have to say that, like, once she had that moment with Mercedes at WrestleMania, it was downhill from there. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the feel-good story of Bianca, but then next thing you know, Bianca was not even getting any type of attention, like in a proper storyline or anything. It was just it was sad what was taking place with her in so many ways. Now, I don't know if I like this or not, because I'm not a big fan of Kevin Owens being upset that he's being interrupted, because he just goes aggro. But at the same time, Sammy and him are trying to have a conversation, and Kevin would like to know, is he done talking to Jay? He did his point. And then they're interrupted by Pretty Deadly, by the Brawling Brutes, by the what's the OC, the Profits. Am I missing a team? Oh, and the LWO. And apparently the LWO was there, Manny. And Teddy, in the spirit of Terry Long, who is still alive, we're getting a gauntlet match next week for the tag team title shot. I like that they're going to try to establish a title shot for them to fight, probably at Money in the Bank. But was the gauntlet the right way to go about doing it?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't even think they're done with Imperium on Raw, are they?
No.
So they've just got feuds all over the place. I mean, at least they're taking the tag team division seriously.
Well, I mean, at least that, I guess, it's an unspoken rule. I guess since they own both titles, they can go to both shows, which I kind of like. I do like having that overlapping where people can show up on two shows. I think it gives it a little bit more of a, fun feel that these tag team titles are not destined to be on one show. Now, Manny, there was a match. It was Shotzi versus Io Sky. Did you think, because I will admit, I thought that Shotzi had a chance. I thought Bayley was going to screw Io in this situation, but no, Io won. But did you think that Shotzi was going to be able to win?
I thought there was a chance, because there's still little bits of dissension between Io and Bayley, that like cracks that have been forming in the last few weeks. But I feel like having them both in the match at Money in the Bank is where we're going to see more dissension. So it makes sense for Io to go through. I'm not sure I would risk Shotzi in another ladder match where the last one she didn't do so well in.
Well, Manny, in the short match that she had with Io, she almost killed herself only twice. So, I mean, she's getting a little bit better. I mean, that one dive she did out the ring, I was like, oh, there go her neck again, and she got up. I think that one of the best segments that took place on SmackDown that many people won't talk about, but I think it's a very important segment just for the storytelling aspect of it, was when Kayla Braxton interviewed Austin Theory backstage. I think that you needed to have him not play second fiddle to the whole tribal chief thing and make his title seem important, because he did point out, he says, it's a shame that I'm the last one to find out about this title defense, but you know what? I'm not going to make any excuses, because I go out there and I win matches. And I was like, that's how you build credibility behind your champion in that situation, because I still thought it was a possibility he was going to lose the title, but, he retained due to, Jimmy being Jimmy and Solo being Solo. I mean, I kind of wanted to see Jay have a title, but I don't know if he's the right person to take it for Austin, but he could be the right person. What do you think?
I think it was. I think he should have been champion. and then it adds. I think it adds to the craziness of this story that's going on already. Like have him being the champion makes him like, oh, should I really side with Roman? Like he's got me gold. Like he's got me gold. A main event Uso again, and there goes my brother trying to hold me down in this tag division.
But you know, that's how some people say though. Sometimes you have to sacrifice some eggs to make a better omelet, and like you would take away all the momentum that Theory had just to let Jay run away with it.
I don't think Theory's got that much momentum. I really don't. Like compare his title run to Gunther's title run. They've held the title for a long
Manny,
period.
come on,
time.
man.
No, but like Theory's
no
doing nothing. Theory's doing nothing in comparison to that.
You know, in so many ways, Manny, this is gonna. Gunther is like a TIC, a TICT, a TSIT. He's a tribal chief in training because like he don't show up sometimes. He has his goons make decisions. When his goons fail at making a decision, he shows up and he makes it right. Like Gunther might be one of my favorite people in WWE right now. Like
now, I do have a question for you.
Go ahead.
It's based off what Marcus said. Who says that? You said sometimes you have to sacrifice a few eggs to make a good omelet. Who says that?
Nobody. Nobody. And you know, like sometimes when you try to make an analogy and you realize when you're making that analogy, you have said it probably completely wrong, but you're gonna say it with so much confidence that people will think about it. See, the problem is that because somebody is in the chat and he's being a super hater right now, he was able to sit down, think about what I said, and say, you know what, that don't make any sense, and call me out. Normally, if he was on the show, he would be so busy trying to spread out his point, he would let me get away with my idiocracy, you know, but whatever. Or idiocy, whatever word.
He does agree that Theory is doing nothing. The most interesting thing about Theory is Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, I do like Pretty Deadly, but the thing is, he's lacking an opponent though. Like that's a problem. It's like who is a good feud for him?
Well, they haven't actually established anyone. That like it seems like the singles division is kind of diminished at the moment because of Money in the Bank, but like there is no one really that can really challenge him at this moment in time.
So you put Santos? Is Theory a SmackDown superstar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because like ideally a good person for him, but he's a heel too. But like people would go crazy if he was a face, him versus Dominic, if they were on Raw, or him versus Priest. I mean, because like I think arguably Dominic is probably the biggest heel right now in WWE. He gets so much easy heat that it's just they boo him out the building. And I think after the main event with Seth Rollins, Damian Priest has really elevated himself. I mean, he did it a couple of weeks ago, but like he's a big time player in the game. And I'm a little concerned because I saw the way that Damian looked at Finn. I saw how he looked at Finn. He was not happy that Finn brought himself down to that ring, but at the same time, you could see the jealousy in Finn too. Like, I really liked how Raw ended with the stare down between Seth and Finn. Like, it was like, oh, give that to me all the time.
You got to realize, Seth insulted this man twice at the start of Raw.
He did. I know he did. I mean, Seth crossed the line for Finn. I get what he did, but at the same time, Damian told him to stay in the back. I might be petty enough. I might would have came down to the ring. I mean, like the greatest thing about Finn right now, he's kind of walking around like he's an Irish thug, and with his boy JD Little Arm Madonna right there, like, could you see him leaving Judgment Day and starting his own little faction?
I see him joining the Judgment Day, and then he's being the thing that breaks them up.
It could be. I mean, because it's just like Finn and Priest, they're there, but they don't have to be a Judgment Day because we all know Judgment Day is Rhea and Dominic. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you break them off to have, because I would, if anybody would go back to be a face, I probably would go with Finn, because I think he could be a better face. Because I think that WWE right now, they are lacking faces. Like, I think everybody is kind of evil. Like, and then apparently Cody Rhodes is wrestling next week. I did like that segment with him in the Miz where his tour schedule so Brock can show up. He letting Brock know, but Brock ain't showing up. He just needs to go into the wilderness. If they gave me a vignette of Cody hunting in the woods looking for Brock Lesnar, that's all I need.
You can't have him because he's already did that weird cartoon walk in Puerto Rico at Backlash when he was stomping away from Brock Lesnar. You do that. You have him hunting. You have him in a vignette hunting the beast. He could be Elmer Fudd.
I also want to point out that I'm glad I'm not the only one that's concerned about Liberty's well-being. Dominic let him know, you're a deadbeat dad. You be at home with your daughter. Made me lie. So, all things weren't peachy king in professional wrestling, Manny. If you can change the graphic over to AEW.
Hold on.
I'm not
new women's title. What do you think of it?
It looks like the men's title.
So I found it very interesting. So they're calling it the WWE women's title. But on the title, if you look closely, it says undisputed champion at the bottom of it.
Oh.
It says women's undisputed champion.
I mean, what it looks like to me is like, we took the belts from Roman. Let's just make these the women titles, so he can't walk around with both of them anymore. Because what is Rhea? Is Rhea gonna be the world champion now?
I think she's gonna be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion or something.
So her belt is gonna look more similar to Seth's belt. You think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Which
takes away from that whole belt swapping thing when you do the draft, which makes more sense. I'm surprised they didn't do that sooner.
I think that I would say that the belt doesn't have any femininity in it, but at the same time, when WWE tried to do femininity in the belt, they made the Divas Butterfly belt.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you have to take your goods and your bads.
And also, Eric, that's the current, that butterfly title is the current New Japan World Heavyweight IGWP Heavyweight
I like to call it the Red Bull title because it got wings.
So we move up. I didn't watch Rampage really.
I didn't watch Rampage either, but I just need to talk about AEW. I mean, so many people,
Oh, have we lost Eric? I think we've lost Eric.
Oh, okay, that happened. And, I have a label being a hater, and I'm not a hater of AEW. I do everything in my power, Manny, to give AEW a benefit of the doubt and try to make them actually have a successful week in my high. You know what I do each week? Manny, I start my week in professional wrestling watching AEW, so I don't have anything else to compare it to, where AEW is the first impression of wrestling that I get in the week. And they almost accomplished a good week until shit just started. That match between Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland was such an entertaining match. It had me saying that, you know what? Marcus is right. You can make money with Swerve. I thought Swerve was taking that title off of Orange Cassidy. And it disappointed me that he didn't take it. But at the same time, I was relieved that he didn't get the title because I think Orange Cassidy might be the best thing in AEW right now. It's the only consistent thing that makes any sense. Only thing.
And then the show went downhill from there.
Manny, let me tell you why the show went downhill. Do you remember what happened after Orange Cassidy won?
Yeah, the Blackpool Combat Club went against Chaos.
No. Remember the beatdown that took place where Swerve's crew.
Oh, yeah, and Sting came out.
Yes, you remember that, right, Manny? So I was having this conversation with Marcus. I was like, I didn't understand this concept. I was like, I guess Sting and Darby had to save him in the situation because I guess the best friends must have been occupied doing something because that's his crew. And then for me, this is where Dynamite fell apart because the very next match was the best friends having a match. And I was like, so Orange Cassidy's crew was available in the back to save him, and they let him get beat down so Sting and Darby could make the save. It just made no sense. And that's my issue where AEW just really doesn't put all the pieces together. If you were going to have him be jumped, you can't have the best friends be on that show having a meaningless match against people. You just can't. You just can't do that.
Can we change Eric's name to Eric's name? He's soiling my name with his bad takes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I forgot to change that. Okay, yeah, I will change that in a minute.
And sorry, too bad if you weren't ill, you could tell me what my bad takes were. What? That I actually like your boy Swerve, or that I like Orange Cassidy? What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think everybody was talking about the exchange between MJF and Adam Cole, and you know, it is what it is. My issue with it is can you do anything else outside? Because you used all your ammunition taking shots at his Vince status, his body status, and stuff like that. Like, could they continue with a more stable promo? And clearly they can't because they're having a title match next week.
So I saw an interesting post on Instagram, or maybe it was TikTok. Adam Cole, no, I mean MJF basically did the same promo Adam Cole did on Karrion Kross back in NXT.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they do say things repeat themselves, though. So, I mean, I think the worst thing about Dynamite had to be Tony Khan's announcement of the main event for Collision. Like, he couldn't even believe that was an entertaining match.
So, it would have been beneficial to have Marcus on the show today. So, what culture's news story today led with Eric Bischoff going off Punk, saying he's not a draw anymore. And since the Punk announcement, he's apparently shifted up maybe 700 more tickets for the Wembley show. The Chicago show for the beginning of for AEW Collision isn't really a sellout, and tickets aren't moving for the Canada shows of Collision. So in this day and age, is CM Punk really still a draw?
I didn't think so. I think the draw with CM Punk is his relationship with Kenny Omega and the Bucks. That's where your money's at. Now, if you would have said that they were having a 6-man tag where it was FTR and Punk going against the Bucks and them, that shit would sell out right away.
Yeah.
The problem is that CM Punk's ego is bigger than anything else, and pretty much AEW is doing what people were so mad at WWE for so long, where they're relying on these older stars of past to try to get them over. And it's hey.
But is it really his fault in this situation? Because Warner wanted this show. Warner wanted this Collision show, and they weren't going to give it to them without CM Punk.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to get what you pay for it. And it's like, you just hope that this doesn't sully the relationship between Warner and AEW going forward. I mean, I think they have a 5-year contract, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would just pay that contract out if the ratings don't, stay up. I mean, because you always want to have competition. And I think that with the trouble that AEW has with booking Dynamite and also Rampage, having another show to book may be difficult. I mean, I know they announced that they have a creative team or a writing team for Ring of Honor, but I guess that is not true for AEW, right? Or have you heard anything about them having creative?
I just know that they added that Will Washington guy that was part of Fightful to AEW to help Tony book. I think that was the only creative thing I heard like in the last few weeks.
It also feels like some of their creative moves is being taken away from the Untitled Manny and Marcus show. I mean, you guys were clamoring for it to be Adam Cole to be the next person to face MJF. Next thing you know, it was Adam Cole versus MJF, and there's been countless of things that you guys have said that should happen has happened. Like, the Don Callis and Takeshita situation, or Takeshita, I don't know how you say his name. I don't think anybody Takeshita. I don't think anybody cares, but they just have to figure out what they want to do. Like, when I watched WWE television this week, there was some stuff I didn't care about it, but it was more stuff that I actually did care about that kept me watching. Like, Raw was a really, really good show. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I can say I didn't care for was the Natty match. But you know what? Everybody needs to go to the bathroom.
See, I get called mean when I say stuff like this.
Because you are. Mine came from a good place in my heart.
Marcus did say, there was this alleged reported deal that hasn't been announced. That apparently, it was like 5 years and $1 billion deal across all of AEW's programming to be on for Warner Brothers, but it's not been announced.
That's like a messy deal for a product that's not even up to Messi. Like when Inter Milan paid all that money to Messi, and they're moving money left and right. I just don't see them giving that much money to AEW. Like, I just don't know if their ratings get more than Tokyo Drift does. I just don't know.
You just mentioned Messi. That Messi deal brings eyes to the MLS.
Oh, it does. It does.
Like, we thought it'd be the same amount of eyes on the MLS the same time David Beckham moved to the Galaxy. But this is more astronomical because Lionel Messi is a generational talent.
Yeah, did you hear about the ticket prices and stuff? Like how a standard ticket was like $91, and then once the announcement was made, they jumped to like $500, $600.
Yeah, it's Messi. Play. It's Messi.
Manny, my friend Jose was even talking about, he said, I gotta go buy me a Messi jersey. I was like, why? He's like, because I know who he is, but I don't care about soccer, but I know who he is.
He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
Is he your GOAT?
He's not my GOAT. I still say Ronaldo is the GOAT, but I'm fortunate to live in a generation when these two monsters are playing football together.
I mean, the greatest thing about it is like the soccer god retired finally, Zlatan.
Zlatan.
He wasn't even that great, but however,
he is. Thing is, he's so good, but his ego is even better.
Betty, can I tell you? That's what made him great when he was with the Galaxy. The promos that he would cut was just amazing. And then when he realized, you know what, these guys suck at MLS, let me go back and have my fight a run overseas. And I was like, go ahead.
I think in his speech to say goodbye to the Milan fans, he said the other team's fans were booing him. And what he said was, carry on booing me. This is the highlight of your year. This man is a heel. This man is the tribal chief.
Hey, Manny, Marcus is questioning your thing. How is he once in a generation if Ronaldo exists?
But he is. Both of them are once in generation talents.
But it happened twice in this generation, though.
They're not the same player.
I don't know much.
Go sleep, Grand Finale. Go to sleep. Be sick and go to sleep.
The best that we have that we create in America is Pulsic.
No. The best American player is Landy Cakes.
Hey, is he still playing overseas? Or did he hang it up?
He hanged up ages ago.
Oh. I mean, I remember when Jody was supposed to give Freddie a due. He was a flop. Oh. They might want to get Messi to show up on AEW. That might help the ratings.
He doesn't speak English.
Damn. Manny, we're doing a lot more people who don't speak English on television. I mean, EO and Oscar had a promo.
So what you expected to happen? Him show up with Andrade one time?
Yeah. Where the hell is Rush at? Rush destroyed Jungle Boy, then he got taken off TV.
Yeah, and then Dralistico is doing his spots on TV on the Dynamite with the ropes.
Is that the guy that almost lost his mask?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Well,
really
Marcus,
pay attention to anything Jungle Boy does.
me neither. It's the. I mean, I was a big fan of Hook when they were doing it, but then clearly they didn't know what to do with Hook. Like, this might sound crazy. I don't know where Hook is at in wrestling, but I think that if you would have had that when the Four Pillars match, if you would have took out Jungle Boy and replaced him with Hook, I think a lot of people would be more entertained with that aspect because I think Hook has a better presence about himself over Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Well, you still don't know nothing about this kid. He's been in the company for what, a year and a half now. Wrestled nothing but squash matches.
He's just the Caucasian version of the former TNT champion, Jay Cargill.
TBS.
Oh, she was the TBS.
Because you remember that bit show.
Yeah, forget about it. And Anna Jay getting a shot at Statlander again. Come on, man. Y'all killing
What
me.
Statlander's doing what Seth Rollins is doing, giving title shots to anyone.
Yeah. Which, to me, because was it a week prior she fought Nyla Rose too? And we ain't seen Nyla Rose in God knows how long.
Apparently she's defended the title 4 times already in 2 weeks.
And what? Jade didn't defend the title? She did it 60 times. She was undefeated.
Jade defended it, but it was on Rampage, and we don't pay attention to Rampage.
Manny, because you know what this is going to mean. We're going to get a Statlander versus Marina Shafir match. I know what's happening.
Yeah, because the cycle, you have to go through the cycle, Eric. You have to go through the cycle. You have to go through all these bums, and then eventually you lose the title, and then that champion has to go through the cycle again.
So let me ask you this question, Manny, because I think since we bring up the cycle, do you think that is the biggest problem with AEW is that it is the same repeat cycle almost for everything that they do? It's like, oh, this has already happened. Like MJF. Oh, he feuded with Chris Jericho. He did this. So now that he's feuding with Adam Cole, he's going to do that. It's like repeat after repeat. It's like we're just going to change the characters, but we're doing the same thing. It's like they're not really stretching their levels of creativity. And the few times where they accidentally stretch their levels of creativity, they go away from it really quickly.
It's the thing is the thing they do, the way they do their creative is very much month to month. You don't often get things that extend to the next month. A lot of these programs are short programs. You never really get the long programs unless you're in a Chris Jericho feud, which is the real problem. Which is a real problem for their booking cycle. Is it's hard to get invested in the first match. You know what I mean? Like, do you know, like Brock and Cody won. You kind of were sold on it because it was the nonsense that happened directly after WrestleMania, but I had a small build, but some build nonetheless. You do that for the first match. So, like, let's say MJF. To say MJF Jericho, that has to go on. That has to keep going on. I can't wait till next year when they go. Do you remember that match they had last time? Here's the next one. That's what they did with Pac and Omega. That's all their like long-term feuds. And it's like, I don't need that. I want it to go on a little bit longer so I can get invested. And then that final match should be the one that goes, boom, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's like, in so many ways, the quest that Cody is going through to try to convince Brock Lesnar to fight him again, it's actually more entertaining that he's showing up each week and you see Brock Lesnar dodging him, and you know eventually it's going to end up with them fighting that Money in the Bank. It's like it's going to end there, but the question is, how does it get there? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And this whole thing is like the quest of Cody getting back to go after a title. And let me ask you this in the Cody situation, because he has 2 tracks right now, right? He has the track where he can go against Seth Rollins again, and we admit they had a great match, but the thing is, was the match great because we saw what Cody was going through with that injury, or did they really have a great match, or does he go and try to right the road and go and face the Tribal Chief again? Like,
I think for Cody, it has to be the Tribal Chief.
I think it has to be also.
It has to be Tribal Chief, and I don't mind what's happening right now because it's basically his own version of the Hard Times story that Dusty did. So Cody needs to experience some hard times. He can't just go straight into the title picture like he did after his injury. This man needs some adversity to add to his story before he overcomes the beast.
Brock Lesnar is that adversity. But Manny, could Cody be a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner?
That's why I asked Marcus, because I think the fans would get annoyed if he was a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner.
I think they would also, but I think because he's not going to be in the Money in the Bank match.
No.
And like him defeating Seth for that title is not the same as him beating Roman, because that's the moment where people's feelings got hurt. Like,
but I don't. Then there's all this talk like, does Roman actually make it to WrestleMania as a champion? Because that's where it should. That's where he should lose that title. But I don't know how much longevity we can have left in this story. They keep refreshing it, but somehow I always think in the back of my mind there has to be an end to this, because at some point it's going to get stale. And I remember an interview Roman did. He said, we keep always reinventing and all this stuff. But at some points, we're all going to get tired of it. It's been going on for like, 1,000 days?
But Manny, we say we're going to get tired of it, but then we get drawn right back in when they put another wrinkle in it. Like, you have to admit that the wrinkle that they threw on this episode of SmackDown with Jay becoming the tribal chief in training and him getting this title shot and him having this sub belt and stuff like that, it made it even more intriguing because, like, you argue, is Jay the one that defeats Roman? I don't know. Do you find Dwayne? Like, you know, Dwayne is living his fast
Is Dwayne the guy that takes the titles from him? No, he isn't. We know Dwayne ain't taking no titles off Roman.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be a great win for Roman to make him solidify him even greater as the greatest tribal chief? Like,
I think he could do that without the titles and be just like, you know what? I am the tribal chief. I am the king of this. I am the king of the Anawahi family.
Betty, I know what you want. You want him to lose the title at Money in the Bank, but he doesn't have a single match.
I don't want him to lose the title at Money in the Bank because I'd be disappointed. Whoever it is, I'd be disappointed.
Detroit doesn't deserve it, man. SummerSlam, Detroit, no.
Yeah, but neither does London.
Philadelphia?
It has to be in front of at least 50,000 people. London is 20,000, I think, or just a bit less than that. I don't know how big
That's
Detroit
how much money you're paying for it.
It's killing me.
Beans and Franks, man. Beans and Franks. That's what you do.
But it has to be either a WrestleMania crowd or a SummerSlam crowd.
But I think for me, though, Manny, when it happens, I don't want to expect it to happen, though, if that makes sense. Like,
so on a SmackDown.
No. But you know what I mean? Like, if there's an opponent that you really wouldn't give a chance to win, like, for example, we all gave Cody. We thought that was it. That was going to be the end of the run. And it's like, oh, shit, it's not Cody. If it's not Cody, then who is it? Like, is it Bobby? Yeah. Like, do we get the build up of Bobby at this point?
I like Bobby Lashley. I really like Bobby Lashley. But if you throw him in in a match against Roman, it just doesn't work.
Can I ask a question? Anybody know what happened to Omos?
Free agent, man. Free agent. He does what he wants.
He does what he wants. He's like, I go to work. F it. I'm gonna wait for them to call me. Oh, shout out to the random show sighting of the old Hurt Business of Shelton and Cedric, just for no good reason.
Yeah, but I thought that was racist.
It was. Like, the fact is that they don't have that many tag teams. They could have did something with them, man. They could have did something with them. Well, you know, the Rock canceled himself when he made that damn movie Black Adam. That was his fault.
Yeah, but did you see the thing? So, have you seen Fast X yet?
I have.
So, obviously, he's made that cameo at the end. And the only reason they got him to sign on after that beef between him and Vin Diesel was he gets his own separate movie to be the middle piece between Fast X and the next Fast.
Yeah. Manny, let me tell you something. I was after Fast 9, I was out of it. Jason Momoa brought me back.
Isn't he the greatest villain? He is an
Dude,
villain
Manny,
I
I
would
don't
love to aspire to be.
man, I after I saw it, Manny, I actually wore purple to work. I wore my purple pants. I'm serious. Like that scene when he shows up and he was like, "Oh, Dominic," and like it's like when he had to make the choice. I was like, "What the hell?" And I think that the funny thing about that movie is that, with the exception of Jason Momoa, the acting is so bad by everybody else that it's just like, what are we doing here? Like the shots that they have for Vin Diesel, like how it's always sunlight coming this way, he's looking off. Little B, it's about family. I will
Oh yeah, there are
always get you.
spoilers here, but if you haven't seen the movie already, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, that's right, Manny. Jacob ain't dead. They got
is
that
dead,
shit.
man. He is dead.
Manny, who came back at the end on that submarine? She fell out of back of a plane, man.
Okay, fine, but when his car exploded, when he decided, I'm gonna do this for you, Dom, I almost got up and was like, I need to go toilet anyway. I got off the range.
I was like, John Cena don't do that.
You can't do this to John Cena to me.
Oh no, John Cena was great. He's one of the highlights of the movie. Oh well, you know, Shantae, because I was compared to everybody else in the movie. Like literally, you need to go see Fast X. It's just, it's such a bad but great movie at the same time.
No. Fast 9 was a bad but okay movie to watch, because as much as you and Marcus did not enjoy Tyrese and Ludacris in space, I enjoyed that.
Manny, let me tell you something. The reason why I can enjoy Fast 10 so much more is because, yes, ridiculous shit happened, but it was not as ridiculous as Tyrese and Ludacris going to space in the car. However, in Fast 10, when they make references of being black astronauts, I almost died laughing. I was like, the thing that bothered me the most was that I'm still trying to understand. You remember the prison break scene when they're like, we have 4 minutes, and they have this epic fight scene, right?
Yeah.
And then she goes up and she finds out that she's covered in snow, and she comes back down. Manny, what did they have 4 minutes for? No one else showed up.
I don't know. I really don't know. They casually left as well afterwards.
Yeah, it's like I was like, were they supposed to wake up from the gas or something? What was going to happen? And I hope Marcus is not listening. Didn't everybody know old dude was just dirty? We all knew he was.
Yeah.
Like looking like a swole rock star spud. Like, yeah, but Jason Momoa, man. Yeah. Such y'all should see it. Y'all should see it.
Jason Momoa made that film.
Yeah. And you want to hear a funny story about that movie? The only reason why he got it, his team didn't even tell him about that movie. But when they were filming Aquaman or something like that, it was like a 2-month hiatus in the production. And that's when his team told him, hey, they wanted you to be a Fast S. And then he jumped to Italy and did that role. Like, epic, man. Epic. But anyway, I think that concludes the show. I mean, without Marcus here, we spoiled,
Marcus said, why see it when you spoiled the whole thing?
Because it ain't spoiled till you see it with your own eyes, buddy. It ain't spoiled till you see it with your own eyes. It's cinema at its best. And the thing is, I don't think we spoiled everything, because there's some other nuggets in there. You'd be like, what? Okay. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler edition of the Untitled Manny and Eric show, and aka the Sharpshooters. You know what? We will invite Marcus back to the table next week. He will be taking off his time out.
That's hopefully if he's alive. He looks sick as a dog when he.
I know. He looked like how Kenny Omega did after he got bit by Ace Steel. Like, what? This girl, man, just bit me. What the hell is going on?
he looked sick, like this level sick, like sweating.
Hey, Manny, since you brought him up, like I know he's head of Ring of Honor Creative. Where can you watch Ring of Honor at?
On a club, which you have to pay,
Oh.
I think $9.99 for. I think.
Hey, also shout out to Samoa Joe. He looks like a badass. What was the name character in Twisted Metal? Sweet Tooth.
That's what he's playing, isn't he?
Yeah, he played Sweet Tooth. I was like, oh, all right. That's the one time that his physique fits well with the character that he's playing.
Yeah, and I think he's going to do a much better job than his last run in WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Are you seeing Transformers?
Yeah, I'm getting paid next week, Eric, so all will be well in the financial status of Lord Manny Hayes.
I'm actually a little upset with Transformers because I wanted to see Spider-Verse in IMAX, but because Transformers came out, they bumped it, and I get it.
I'm not sold on IMAX, like I've seen a few movies in it, and I don't get the hype.
I don't either, but because I'm part of the Stubbs Club at AMC, I just use it, like because I can get whatever theater I want because I pay my monthly subscription.
So I might buy a monthly subscription for cinema here, but I'm not entirely because sometimes I just don't. I wouldn't probably use it, so it's just like, am I forcing myself to watch this movie?
They got me on so many areas because like it's been weeks and weeks that I don't go see movies, but now I'm like trying to get back into the role. Like, you know what? Since I get 3 viewings a week, let me at least go try and see one and get the most. And the summer is coming up, so many different movies. Like I want to see Asteroid City, Wes Anderson. That looks like a fun movie. The Blackening. I don't even know what that's about, but it's black, so I have to see it. Let me tell you something. The battery life on these M1s are impressive. Like we record this whole show and my battery is only at 89%, and that's actually very impressive. I mean, I know we're not doing anything labor intensive,
but you're only on a website. Like if you were doing Ecamm or something like we used to before, I think that would have been a little bit more resource heavy than what we're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, like compared to my iPad Pro, it's like, oh, Manny, are you gonna start saving up for those goggles, whatever they do?
Oh, fuck those goggles, man! I'm not sold on any VR experience. Well, Eric. I don't like anything where I have to wear apparatus on my head.
Yeah, and my eyes don't work good enough for that. And then you want me to start at $34.99? Man, that's a small car. I'm good. I'm good, fam. Now,
as much as it would look like I would be in Minority Report, no one would be able to see me do that.
It's almost as bad as walking out with the like you're out here making goggles. Could you please make me some new AirPod Maxes that don't require a bra, or at least have an on-off switch?
Why is that? Why has got that? That has got the longest life cycle on that.
Because Manny, they're really fucking good. That's the problem.
Yeah, like the thing is though, I believe what people have said, the noise cancellation in the new AirPod Pros have surpassed the Maxes.
Really?
Which is what you would expect on a product that's a year old, like 3 years older than that. So I'm waiting for that to be refreshed because that's probably what I want to buy next. But they haven't refreshed that, and you would expect that to be a refreshed. Maybe it's going to get refreshed in the next iPhone event because that's when they announce the AirPods Pros and stuff like that.
Is that the reason why it won't get refreshed is because I think everybody will start buying the discounted versions of these. Like that's how good they are. Like I don't need them, but when I do use them, the first thing I say, man, why I don't use these more?
Yeah. Because I thing is, I stopped using. I only use wired connection for the show now. If there's more than 2 of us on here, because for some reason these start messing up. I don't know why, but they start messing up. Maybe because I've got too many Bluetooth connections to this computer.
And then I think Apple dropped the ball with their Final Cut release on the iPad, like a subscription. Come on, man. I got
To be fair
LumaVision
though,
and I got DaVinci Resolve.
$4.99 isn't that bad.
It's not bad, but
I think they're trialing that on the iPad, and then they're gonna move to that because I know Adobe, I think is a subscription based thing or
whew,
right now.
painful, man. Like they're the most expensive.
Because I would like to start. I would think about using it, but like I'm good with what I've got right now.
Because you're still using LumaVision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about it, they say that the weakness that it is in with Final Cut is the color grading. The color grading is bad.
Yeah, like, but the things we really do on here, we don't color grade nothing on here.
Because no one is shooting in log and stuff like that. But I guess they say that the magnetic strip though, like how it puts stuff together, really works well with Final Cut. I was like, for me, I don't shoot enough video to really say, you know what, let me go pay this $50 for it. But you know,
see, I would consider it if I was going to start doing it on my on desktops and stuff like that. But editing using a pencil and a scroll and just scrolling, so much more easier. Like people don't actually understand how easy it is for me to edit the best of sometimes.
So the more that I use my iPad Pro with the pencil, the way it's supposed to be used, because you know when I got it as a content consuming device. But like the more I do stuff like as I'm reading and like highlighting stuff, I'm like, wow, this pencil's a game changer. Like I feel like they dropped the ball on the MacBook Air, not making the screen a touchscreen.
I think I don't need it. Think about your MacBook screen and like it's a glossy. I don't know what type of screen it is because mine. OLED. I think mine is. I think mine is exactly the same as yours. And if I was to touch that, that would look disgusting, and I get very annoyed with it because you know when you look at your iPad and you look at it, you're like, man, what am I? What kind of animal am I?
Hey, the Flash is back. You know they got their big week next week. The Flash comes out. Can't wait for that. I'm excited for that.
But yeah, there was nothing coming out at WWDC that I was like, you know what, I need to run out and get.
So when they made the announcement of the new MacBook Air, I was excited, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, you don't have any of the peripherals like the MacBook Pro has. Like, I want those USB dongles and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I might as well just go buy me a Pro. But then I thought to myself, like,
they released a new MacBook Air.
Yeah, the 15-inch MacBook Air M2.
Oh, I don't need big screens for that.
Yeah,
I'm happy with
it has the MagSafe now. It's the MagSafe adapter, which is cool. The only thing that keeps tempting me is the Mac Studio.
I don't need that.
Well, because I've been shooting with my my 40 megapixel camera, and then when I shoot with my other 50 megapixel, oh man, my poor Mac Mini be like, man, what are you doing to me? Why are you doing this to me, Eric? Stop! Like it's like, it's struggling. But like, is that struggle worth going out invested in all that money? I just don't know.
I tell you what, for the show, I think the next time they release a new Mac Mini, that's the time I upgrade. Because this Mac Mini, M1 Mac Mini, is serving me so well.
Dude, it's by far the best computer I've had in a long time. And because of the monitor that I bought, like, I don't think I ever want to go past 4K because I could barely see the 4K as it is because it's so fucking small. So, like, at that point, is that I'm okay with just buying whatever the next Mac Mini is or the next Mac Studio, which I think is kind of cool. So I don't need that iMac because, you know, I was burnt with the iMac. When my screen broke, the iMac broke, and I was very upset by that. But then other people say that you can just go and buy you a nice MacBook Pro where you have the same type of power and you can just dock it next to your screen. So it's a very confusing place that I'm at.
See, I've got the M1 Mac Mini, and then I've got the M2 MacBook Air, and I don't think I'll be upgrading anytime soon.
Oh, I didn't know you had the M2 a MacBook Air. You know, Marcus, I almost bought me this Dell because they had a gaming PC and I wanted to play Diablo 4, but I was like, I ain't got nobody to play Diablo 4 with, so why would I do that?
Do you hear? So I was watching Triple Jump, and I was watching their podcast this morning, and they do a segment called Weird News. Whoopi Goldberg complained on Instagram that she can't play Diablo 4 on her Mac, and she's begging them to put out Diablo 4 for Mac.
First of all, I didn't know that Diablo 4 did not have Mac support. I mean, it makes sense, but I'm more shocked that Whoopi Goldberg out here playing Diablo 4. Man, you know, I'm actually shocked that you don't play Diablo.
I mean, it's a hack and slash, which I could get into, but it's too long, man.
No, Manny, I thought for you the loot would be it.
Loot?
You know, because they have the loot drops. Like if you kill people, you get to pick up loot. It's like collected shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I should have talked to you before I bought MLB The Show 23. I should have talked.
Why did you buy it,
Manny? Because I wanted to see if it looked different on a PS5 compared to Game Pass. And you're right. I should have bought it on Game Pass because the only reason why I bought the game is that I thought I could carry my season over from 22,
no.
And you can't. And I think that's ridiculous because I'm tired of doing my 6-year bid before I can make a decision to stay with my team.
You know, as much as I play that on the easiest mode with all the sliders played up to enhance my juiced up player, I never get to 6 years. I give up about the third year.
No. I made it to my contract. And you know what pissed me off, Manny? I finally made it to my free agency period. And you know what I did? I stayed.
Why?
You know why? Because all my friends was on that team. I got those boosts.
Nah, see, you can make new friends, Eric. You can make new friends. All my friends.
Dude, the crazy thing about that game, though, is that in the imaginary world of playing baseball, and I'm upset because I can't make my money because I'm great because I'm stuck to the 6-year agreement. Imagine being that way in real life. Can you imagine what Bryce Harper felt like? Being one of the best people with baseball, but you can't get your buddy into 6 years. It's ridiculous.
See, I'm in the middle of my second season. My players are overall 87. I'm kind of thinking, what if I simmed all these games to the 6 year?
Then you won't get the contract that you want. Because I did some sims. I was like, oh no, this ain't right. Because right now I'm in the minor leagues because I haven't played as much as I wanted to. So I'm still in AA. And I actually feel like I'm having a pretty subpar minor league season. Like whatever, I'm only hitting 324 and stuff. However, when they show me my stats, I'm leading the team in home runs with 4. I'm leading the team in average and hits. And I'm like, what the hell? But then I got upset when they showed me my one stat, Manny. Manny, I'm hitting 125 at runners in scorer position. I'm pressing too much instead of letting the pitch come to me. And it's really bothering me by that.
Eric, I smashed the first pitch out of the park most time. I never really get to the second hit unless I hit it foul.
You see, Manny, because you're playing so easy. I'm actually doing the dynamic difficulty where it gets harder as I get better.
Nah, that's for suckers.
You're not into Final Fantasy either, right?
No, I've gone off turn-based games. The only turn-based game I will allow myself to play, and the fact it's thankfully I don't own a Switch because that would have cost me a lot of money. Is the amount a lot of time would be the amount of time I would have probably put into Pokemon. That's the only turn-based thing I would allow myself to play now.
I don't think Final Fantasy is turn-based anymore.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, do you know what? I can't be bothered to deal with all the things you have to do off screen. I was like, that's just too intensive.
So in other words, maybe I have to multitask at work. Fuck multitasking in my fun time. Throw ball, let me smash ball. I'm happy. Yeah, I get it. Actually, believe it or not, the new Pokemon that moved away from the turn-based thing, it wasn't as fun as turn-based. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
Well,
too old
everyone's
for it.
saying it pushed the limit. The last Pokemon pushed the limit of the actual system. Is what people were saying.
It wasn't a system. The whole idea of what you're doing, it felt too real. Like you see these Pokemons just kicking in the world, and you throw up with your ball and you catch them. It's like, damn, I'm really a slave driver in this situation. It was sad.
But I was thinking, I wanted to do that, and then I started seeing what people were playing on Zelda, and I was like, I can't play that game.
I want to talk about Zelda because
You haven't even played Breath of the Wild, though, did you?
Yeah, and therefore I can't play the new one because then I will never play Breath of the Wild. So, and then I was looking at like on my trip, Manny, I bought my Switch.
Have you played it?
But I haven't took it out yet. But I brought my Switch with all these games, and you see these games that I have in here, right? My issue with the games that I like, 100 hours, 100 hours, 100 hours, 100 hours, 170 hours.
The only one I think I've ever heard you say you've put in the time was Monster Hunter.
and I let that walk away, man. I never finished that game. It's that and Elden Ring. It's like I walked away from both of them. And Manny, I think the last time I turned on my Steam Deck was the time I made the shoot with the Steam Deck.
Well, that's nearly a year. That's nearly a year and a half ago.
Exactly.
The thing is, when you said that, I was like, I know you ain't gonna play it. So you're too much of a casual gamer. So a Steam Deck requires you to invest time. When you're a casual gamer like yourself, you need those Nintendo games where you can just pick up, play for a couple of hours, and then put it down.
Well, the biggest tragedy that has taken place when I bought the Steam Deck, Manny, was that the pandemic ended. And so now when I go to work, they expect me to work. It's like, damn. It's like this free time that I had where I could theoretically play a video game. And true, I chose to go around and talk to people. Now I don't even have that with me because I have to stay in the courtroom and do trial. They're just miserable.
Yeah, but you've still got to unwind, Eric, when you come home. Like I 100% don't believe you spend 100% of your time with Shantae when you get home from work.
Well, no, she's in school. She's in school. And so then it's like, okay, I have to watch wrestling. Like it's like, oh, it's not that much time.
Yeah, it's like, Eric, you gotta do it the way I do it. Watch it at 4 times speed sometimes.
Benny, I almost feel like I have to do that, but then I feel like I'm shortchanging the thing. But then Marcus also knows that I have an issue watching all my cooking shows, and he makes fun of me because I've watched all these. Like currently on Netflix, I'm watching the Smoking Challenge, and I'm like, I don't even know why I'm watching it, but they create so much because I think it's mindless TV where you don't have to be committed, and it's like it could be on the background. You just look at what happened. It's like, oh yeah, that did happen.
Oh, I also worked out why you're the biggest Baron Corbin fan. The man does barbecue and grilling shit on his Instagram.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like, dude, some of his meat, you be like, damn, Baron, what you doing?
I was like, I saw it once and I was like, liked by Eric. I was like, yeah, I know why. I know why he's his biggest fan.
Mars, I don't watch that much Guy anymore because Guy ain't really like he has the same shows over. I watch all this new stuff. Like, although I think I was spoiled for the winner of Top Chef because I follow Padma. Damn it, but I'll still watch when I get home. I like to eat, man.
I watched that show on Netflix where they were recreating snacks.
That was actually a really good show.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Is that the one where they had to look at the vending machine and then it fell out the vending machine? And then, that was actually pretty good. I mean, some of them was flawed with the snacks that they created. But I think this could be a whole nother tangent of everything that me and Manny do on the side. Hey, maybe one day the shoot will come back. Who knows? I doubt it, but it could.
Yeah, but the shoot, I feel like a conversation with me and you on the shoot, I feel like is like, that's episodic.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's one of those ones where we do it. but there's always more left on the table.
Betty, we would sit there and talk for 3 hours and be like, well, that's a whole year worth of content. It's like Raw's Retro. It's like, well, we can splice this out because they talked about this and they talked about that and they talked about that. Marcus, they're not all the same shows. They make different meats and different foods, Marcus. Everybody has their own things, Marcus. They'll be so judgmental, buddy. Dominic Toretto.
It's funny that he's the only one in the chat today hating.
Yeah. I mean, let me explain. He put on his Levi suit very well. Just like easily.
So we had this thing. We were discussing this thing last month. Do you know the phrase, this guy woke up on the wrong side of the bed?
Yeah.
Marcus woke up on the Levi side of the bed.
He did. Marcus woke up on the side of the bed, put his Levi's on. It's like, I'm going to be Levi today.
He put on his 501s and just started hating.
Yeah, he acting like a 304 right now. You know, it amazes me as I watch all these people in Vegas walk around in their swimsuits.
What are you watching?
Because I can see outside the hotel room.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a TV show. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
No, the TV's right here. But I think we're about to go eat some noodles now. I'm excited for this. I'm hungry. You know, sometimes you just need to get away from, you know, like it's been a long week. And, you know, we were given
we didn't even have to do a show today. You were given the option not to do the show.
Oh, man, it's perfectly fine. Look, then it would have been no show because Marcus was sick as a dog.
Yeah, that's fine. The Saturday show is the show where sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
You know, because the Saturday show just really makes me feel bad because I know Marcus doesn't think it's an issue, but I think going back and talking over old stuff that already happened is pretty bad. It's pretty much just an extension of the Untitled Manny show covers SmackDown. That's what it is.
See, this is the main show. And if you ask certain people, like the actual audio listeners, they like this show because they get your opinion, because they know they're not going to get your opinion Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday unless you appear in the chat.
And because work is making me work, I don't appear in the fucking chat.
And sometimes our takes do change, but then it's more funnier when all three of us are together, because either one person is going to take the shit that day.
No, it is funny. Like the few times that I have heard you guys talking, like I listen to your show because sometimes when I'm driving home and I have nothing else to listen to, I'll listen to the audio of the Untitled Manny and Marcus show. And it's like literally when I bring something up on the show to hear the take that you made on that week, and then you guys have completely changed your mood about it. I'm like, don't they remember what they said on Tuesday? And
no, we don't remember anything.
You know what, Marcus? He probably does because he's half asleep.
I'm exhausted when we do those shows.
I can imagine. I mean, you know what? The greatest thing about the Tuesday show is that the Tuesday show has been on the brink of being canceled so many different times that it keeps getting resurrected, like left and right. It's like, oh, it's back again.
Well, the Tuesday show is fine for me because work understands that I can't work. I can't be in the office on a Tuesday. I can work from home just so I don't have to rush home to watch the show, watch Raw. I've done it twice. Eric, I was walking home. I had Raw on my phone and I was walking home. I'm walking through the mean streets of the Camden. I could get robbed.
Nah, man, because they know that this bloke is watching Raw. He's dangerous. That's what they know. Anyway, man, we have to really wrap this show up. I didn't realize how late it was. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed This Week in Tech with Betty and oh no, that might get us sued. So never mind. You know, we talked about some shit. That's what we did. We did some things. Betty, that would be a great show for us. We did some things. It's just because it would be stuff.
We did things. We spoke about things.
Yeah, we'll be talking about some things. Just things. But do you plan on seeing Spider-Man?
Yeah, probably okay. Friday.
Okay. Well, I look forward to talking to you about the dude because like he's like the best character in the whole movie. Because it's just like, yeah. it's a part of me that needs to go visit East London, but then at the same time, I might not make it out the main street.
Yeah, you don't want to watch. If you've ever watched what was that, Green Street? That's my interpretation of East London. So don't ever go there alone.
So it was funny. I'm going to end with this story. So Shantae and I, when we were going to Target yesterday to buy stuff for our little trip, right? And we were in Target right when they let all the high schoolers out. And you know that I would say that I live in an area where there's not many black people at. You know, that's a very nice way to say it.
You're the only you're the only black man back on the street, right?
Yeah,
on your street.
it might be two other people, but they really don't come out. But we're inside of Target, and there's all these young high school kids, right? And like literally, it's this young boy. He might be of like Asian mixture, like he's Asian and maybe Caucasian, right? And he's wearing a blue and a red hat, and he was like, "Yeah, it's Crip blood on life." Like, you know, he was literally imitating like he was a black gangster. And then he saw Shantae and I, and he kind of got a little quiet. And I was like, damn, Shantae, I should have scared him and gangbanged on him. She was like, no, it's not worth it. And I was like, I should have. Teach his ass a lesson.
But I feel like in your neighborhood they'd know your name.
Nah, man.
That's Eric the Black Man. That's Eric the Black Man.
No, Manny, I'm probably the overweight black man. But there's another black man in the neighborhood who walks his dog that I hope I'm never confused with, because he walks his dog in his pajama pants, and I'm just totally against that. Pajama pants and Crocs, man. Pajama pants and Crocs.
You live in life, man. That's what you do in the burbs.
Fuck Crocs, man. And what respectable person got pajama pants? I sleep in my drawers. Anyway. We hope you guys enjoyed this show. What a nugget to leave the show with.
All right, guys.
Stay sharp. Ready? End it now.